what's up guys? My name is Alfred Sarmiento from BSIT 2105. For today's vlog, I'm going to discuss or going to give you a summary form about Chapter 4 in our NetAcad. Now for our Chapter 4 network access, we're going to tackle the physical layer media. So there are three basic forms of network media. These are the copper cable, fiber optic cable, and wireless. So what is the copper cable? So copper cable, these are the signals that are patterns of electrical pulses. Then the second one is the fiber optic cable. So what is a fiber optic cable? A fiber optic cable, these signals are patterns of light. So by wireless, these signals are patterns of microwave transmission. So these are the physical. So that are the three different kinds. So now I'll be telling you the functions. The fun the, tip- the different kind of function is the physical components, encoding, and the signaling. And the physical components are the electronic hardware devices, media, and other connectors that transmit and carry signals to represent the bits. So these are devices that are used by the user. Encoding or line encoding is a method of converting a stream of data bits into well-defined code. Codes are groupings of bits used to provide a predictable pattern that can be recognized by both the sender and the receiver. So, unlike encryption. Signaling, the physical layers generate electrical, optical, or wireless signals that represent the 1 and 0 in media. The method of representing bits is called the signaling method. The physical layers must define what type of signal represents A1 or what type of signal represents A0. This can be simple as change of level for an electrical signal or optical outputs. So these are the functions. So there is what you call bandwidth. So bandwidth is the measurement of how big is the capacity. So there are different kinds of unit of bandwidth. There are the bits per second, which is means to B/S. One BS is equals to fundamental unit of bandwidth. Kilobits per second, also called as the kilobytes. Megabytes per second, gigabytes, terabytes. So those are the different kind of measurements or capacity of a bandwidth. So there are different types of copper media used in networking. So these are the types of copper that used in networking. So these are the unshielded twisted pair or the UTP cable. Next, the shielded twist pair or the STP cable, and the coaxial. So what is a unshielded twisted pair? It's the most common networking media. It's used for interconnecting network hosts with intermediate network devices such as switches and routers. So, a shielded twisted pair consists of outer jacket protects the copper wire from the physical damage, while the twisted pair protects the signal from interference. And lastly, the color-coded plastic insulation. These are the electrically isolates wires from other and identify each pair. While the shielded twisted pair cable provides better noise protection than UTP cabling. However, compared to UTP cable, STP cable is significantly more expensive and difficult to install. Like UTP cable, now for the shielded twisted pair cable, it consists of jacket, braided or foil shields, and twisted pairs. And lastly, we have the coaxial cable for the most common types of use in networking. So, coaxial cable it gets named from the fact there are two conductors that share the same axis. So, in coaxial cable, it has the outer jacket, braided copper shielding, plastic insulation, copper conductors. For the coaxial connectors, we have the B and C, N-type, and F-type. So, these are the most common types used in networking. Ethernet installations, the coaxial cable is designed used in wireless installation, cable internet installation. So for our wireless installation, coaxial cables attach the antennas to wireless devices. The coaxial cables carries the radio frequency energy between the antennas and the radio equipment. So for our cable internet installation, cable services provides internet connectivity to their customers by replacing portions of coaxial cable and supporting application elements with fiber optic cable. Now that we have discussed the different kinds of cable, why don't we discuss on how to prevent from having an accident from cable? So these are the different types of safety awareness on how to prevent from accident. So cable, the separation of data and electrical power cabling must comply with safety codes. Cable must be connected correctly. Installation must be inspected for damage for it to be restored or to be arranged. And lastly, equipment must be grounded correctly. So these are the safety awareness on how to prevent us from the cable from having an accident. Now we're going to discuss the types of UTP cable. So these are the following main type of cables that are obtained by using specific wire conversion. These are the Internet straight through. The most common type of network cable is the most commonly used to interconnect a host to a switch and a switch to a router. Internet crossover, a cable used to interconnect similar devices. For example, to connect to a switch, a host to a host, a router to a router. A rollover is a proprietary cable used to connect a workstation to a router to a console port. So these are the Now we're going to tackle the fiber optic cable is now being used in four types of the industry. So the four types of industry is the enterprise network, fiber to the home or the FTTH, long haul networks, and the submarine cable networks. So enterprise network is for backbone cabling application and interconnecting infrastructure devices. So fiber to home used to provide always and broadband services to homes and small businesses. Long-haul networks used by services providers used to connect countries and cities. Submarine cable networks used to provide a reliable high-speed, high-capacity solutions capable of surviving in harsh undersea environment up to transoceanic distances. So these are the four types of industry. Now let's discuss the fiber media cable design and each function of each designs. So first, the jacket. So what does jacket do? Typically, a PVC jacket protects the fiber against the abrasion, moisture, and other contaminants. Next one is the strengthening material. Surrounds the buffer, prevents from the fiber cable from being stretched when it's being pulled. The next is the buffer, used to help shield the core and the clothing from damage. Made from slightly different chemicals than those used to create the core. It tends to act like a mirror by reflecting light back up to the core of the fiber. This keeps light in the core as it travels through the fiber. The last one is the core. The core is actually the light transmission element at the center of the optical fiber. This core is typically silica or glass. Light passes travels through the fiber cone. So these are the fiber media cable design and its function. So types of fiber media. These are the lasers, the light emitting diodes. So fiber optic cables are broadly classified into two types. These are the single mode fiber, the SMF, and the multi-mode fiber MMF. So single mode fiber MMF consists of a very small core, less dispersion, suited for long distance application, used lasers as the light source, commonly used with the campus backbones for distances of several thousand meters. So for our multimedia fiber, consists of a larger core and uses LED emitters emitters to send light pulses. Larger cord than a single-mode cable allows greater dispersion and therefore the loss of a signal. Suited for long-distance applications but shorter than single-mode, use LED lights as the light source, commonly used with wide or distance of a couple hundred meters within a campus network. So these are the two types. So this is the end for our chapter 4 summary. Now let's proceed from more activities from chapter 2 to 3, chapter 3 to 4. So bye, next time again.